Hey everybody, welcome back for yet one more circuit in TinkerCAD for the Arduino. So let's go ahead and start the way that we always have been. We'll click on our circuits and we are going to create a new circuit. And the circuit we are going to make today, we are going to call this one Arduino-Servo. And what we're going to be talking about today is you should have already learned about what a servo is. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about how you program a servo in Arduino, which is going to be a skill that we require in a number of different ways for our autonomous vehicle competition. So let's go ahead and get our standard components out, which are our breadboard, our Arduino, of course, and then we're going to scroll down a little bit and get micro servo. And that one should work out perfectly, just like this. We'll call this one servo or my servo. My servo right there. And that should be perfect right there. Let's go ahead and tie in a couple of our pins. Actually, if we click on this one, we should be able to rotate this to make it a little easier to attach. So if you click on that, you have my servo. There's a little button up here on the top that says rotate. Click it a few times so you have it like this. So our Arduino or our servo is facing our Arduino. Now, if you notice, you can hover and you can see that that's the signal, that's the power, and that's the ground. So our ground obviously will go to ground. And we're going to make that color black since it is a ground wire. Power will go to red. We'll go 5 volt right in. We'll make that one red because that is our 5 volts. And then our servo pin, what we are going to do is we can really pick whatever pin that we want for this to go. We're going to pick pin 9. And we'll leave that one as green. Since that's the signal pin, that's fine. Now, in second thought, I guess we didn't really need the breadboard, but we'll leave it there anyways. Whatever, it will be fine. So go ahead and take a look at our code. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually hide our stuff real quick. And we will move our things over a little further since our code editor will hide them. Now we're good to go. All right, so our text-based code, we are going to actually use a couple of different things in here. So the first one, before our setup, we're going to declare a couple of variables and use a library. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Arduino Servo library. That is a built-in chunk of code that Arduino uses to make writing with the servo easier. Now, as we do this, I'm not 100% sure it's going to work out with this, but I guess we'll see. Now we're also going to declare a variable. So our servo is going to be called my servo. And we're going to put a semicolon to end it. So there we go. We have those couple of lines of code. Now what we can do in our setup is we have a few things that we are going to do. Actually, we do one more variable, my apologies. It's going to be an integer called position, and we're going to set that as an initial value to 0. We're going to use the position, obviously, hopefully obviously, to control the position of our servo, and now we're going to go ahead and use our setup. Our setup is going to be reasonably easier. We're going to say my servo, and we're going to attach my servo, and we're going to say that we're going to use pin 9, just like we have it hooked up. We're also going to start our serial communication. And we're going to set that at a baud rate of 9600 so we can kind of test that out. We are also, as we start, as we always do, let me just copy the word serial because I have this feeling I'm not going to spell it right. .println, and we're going to say just that our serial monitor works. Let's go ahead and erase all of our loop. And we're just going to run it and see what happens. We'll click our serial monitor and it says serial works. And interesting enough, our servo actually did move. So it is completely possible that this is going to work. Okay, so we've attached a servo. We have our serial monitor that works. And what we're going to do is just to start off with our servo, we're going to say myservo.write. And that's how we change the position of our servo. So we can set this anywhere from 0 to 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and put a comment in right here. From 0 to 180. Whoops. So when we say write our position 0, that is going to be our probably leftmost position. And then we're going to go ahead and do some delay. And let's just put our delay in there, as we'll say 2000 seems to be a solid number of delay. So we're going to copy this one, and after this, we'll say we want to set our servo to 90, and we're going to wait for 2 seconds. We're going to set it to 180. We're going to wait another 2 seconds. And then we're going to set it to 90. And we're going to wait another 2 seconds. Oops, sorry, there's my save habit. So what should happen is we should have our servos at 0. Then it goes to 90 where it is now. Then it goes to 180. Then it goes back to 90, and then back to 0. Let's see if this actually works. There's no guarantee that this will do anything. And it kind of does. And you can kind of see that working, actually, exactly the way that it should. And that's exactly what should happen when we use our servo library to do this. And this is just a test. So as we do some of these things, it's really good to test them out before we go and we put them in there. Let's do one more thing to finish off our code. So we'll stop our thing. And as a test, we will say, after we write our servo, we will say servo is 0. Now let's go ahead and actually change. Let's just leave it for now. We'll use our position variable in the next tutorial. It's okay. So we'll say servo position is 90. Servo position is 180. And then servo position is 90. Now here's why we do this. In this case, we only have a few different areas or different positions that our servo can go to. This will allow us to test it. There's certain things that we'll do just to debug our code. So we know that if something isn't happening, we know our code is running. So one of the things that's possibly going to happen is that we screwed up our wiring, or a wire came out, or something went wrong. So when we use our serial to print, that is an extra test. So let's see how it works. So it works. Our position is 0, 90, 180, 90. So then you can see the corresponding message when our servo moves. Okay, so that's all for this particular version of Servo. We are going to use this servo in a number of different ways. Like I said, this is just our most fundamental way to get it to work. So I will see you for our next video shortly.